So I've been talking and talking to the crew here and everything, and we've been talking about all this racial violence and all the protesting and all this different stuff going on in the United States and really around the world. And I want to bring up a few points, and one of them is the Edmund Pettus Bridge over in Selma, Alabama, and of course the different statues and the Black Lives Matter, the NFAC that is formed up, and uh, all this other different stuff that's going on, the riots and the looting and everything. And I'm going to talk about it. And some of y'all may like what I say, some of you may like. The bottom line, it's the United States of America, and we're free to speak our minds as long as we ain't impeding other people's rights, or as long as we're not violating or tearing people's stuff up, or putting hands on each other and stuff like that. So anyway, I want to start the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I want everybody to think about this. There's a online petition right now for changing the name of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Now, Martin Luther King walked across this bridge, and it was known as Bloody Sunday, 1965. The Edmund Pettus Bridge is named after one of the Confederate generals, and he was also the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. But I want y'all to really think about this. Why did Martin Luther King really walk across that bridge in Selma, Alabama? And when he did, he beat Edmund Pettus. He beat him. If you change that name to Jackie Robinson or Michael Jackson or I don't I don't care, whatever you change it to. You can Babe Ruth, you can change it to whatever you want to change it to. But anytime you celebrate the walk and the anniversary across that bridge, it will never be the same, because you're not walking on Edmund Pettus. Think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Every time the citizens, and notice I said citizens, not black people, not white people, everybody, when we as a nation, as American citizens, walk across that Edmund Pettus Bridge, we are physically walking on top of the KKK. We are physically walking on top of what Edmund Pettus stood for. Every single time we march across that bridge, we beat Edmund Pettus. We beat racism. We beat segregation. We beat it. Think about that. Think about that. Now, if you change it to Babe Ruth, or change it to Donald Trump, or you change it to Obama, or whatever you might want to change it to, or the America might want to change it to, or I might want to change it to, it's not going to have the same meaning. When you walk across that bridge and it's named Jackie Robinson, it's not going to have the same meaning. You're walking across a bridge that's named after Jackie Robinson. Sure, the bridge is named after Jackie Robinson. The bridge being named after Edmund Pettus is a symbol, and it's not a symbol for the KKK. It's a symbol for every time we as American citizens walk across that bridge, we are stomping on Edmund Pettus and everything he stood for. We can turn around and look up there at the name Edmund Pettus and say, we beat you. We beat you. Martin Luther King beat you. The civil rights movement beat you. Put a plaque there. We need something on there. I haven't been there in a while. I've drove across it quite a bit, but I haven't really got out and really walked. We need a accurate historical description on that bridge. Before it, after it, maybe alongside of it, maybe something built off to the side of it that shows and tells of exactly what went on. It was called Bloody Sunday for a reason. Don't take the history away from that. And it's the same thing. I want you to think about your Confederate soldiers. You can look at Stone Mountain. You can look at all the statues that's been tore down around the United States of America. You know what? I mean, you can try to erase your history and erase history all you want to. Bottom line, the history is going to be there. You can't erase history. You can't change the past. You can't do it. You can change the name of Edmund Pettus off of that bridge. You're still not going to erase the fact. You're going to take away the memory of what Martin Luther King did. He marched across that bridge for a reason. Same thing with the Confederate soldiers, Stone Mountain, all the different Robert E. Lee's, all the military bases, everything. Use it as a teaching tool. Use it and put plaques up, put descriptions up. Tell what the true story was. And I want everybody to think about this on the different stuff with Confederate soldiers. You know, who owned slaves, who didn't own slaves, who was prejudiced, who won't prejudice. Hey, look here. So, a man, a woman, a person is born. And as they grow up, they make mistakes. Maybe they owned slaves back then. That was the way the world was back then, with the United States growing, the Civil War, etc., etc. Those were what you call growing pains for the United States. That's what it was. Now some of y'all are going to say, yeah, well, you're white and you wasn't a slave. Well, you weren't a slave neither. Okay? So there you go. None of us in this day and age was a slave, so don't play that card on me. Okay? All right? So that's not going to work. All right, the thing about it is, when you walk up to the statue of Robert E. Lee, you can say, and you can teach your kids, and the history should teach it, we beat you. The South lost for a reason. The Union won, and we became one nation. And we kept growing, leading back to like the Civil Rights Movement and everything. Martin Luther King, you know, he spoke it. I have a dream. You know, you can try to rewrite everything. You can come up with all the illogical history you want to with the 1619 movement. And look, facts are facts. Truth is truth. You can march and lie. You can march and riot. You can march and tear stuff up. You can shoot people. I mean, you know, hey, it's been going on for centuries. It ain't going to change. It's not going to stop. It's the United States of America. It's the United States of America. You know, you ever heard the old saying, you want to get somebody's attention, whisper. But think about Stone Mountain. You go to Stone Mountain, you can look up there. Not only is it a piece of art, okay, to say the least, you can teach the history there. Put the history to go along with each one of those individuals. They were slave owners. They fought to whatever they believed in for the South, whether they was fighting the political side of it or the slavery side of it or a way of life side of it, or hell, some of them just was fighting because they was in the South. You know, I mean, that's just bottom line. You know, think about what I'm saying. Think about it. And some of y'all, like the protesters, the BLM movement or Antifa or whoever it was on all these different statues. One of the statues that got defaced was for the 54th Infantry, a Union infantry made up of mostly all blacks, and if I'm not mistaken, it was led by a white lieutenant, and they was notably one of the best infantry units in the Civil War. And then you've got the Tuskegee Airmen. So y'all are running around here, not y'all, let me rephrase that. All right. Part of America is running around here, whites, blacks, mixed, all different races. The BLM movement has went from trying to fix a broken system with the cops to a racist movement. The minute you put black in front of Black Lives Matter, to most of America, you have made it a symbol about blacks, when it should have been all lives matter. Now, I understand you're saying Black Lives Matter. That don't mean that white lives don't matter. It don't mean that native lives don't matter. I understand that. But we're either united in the United States or we're not. We're either united or we're not. So you took something, America, the streets, the BLM, Antifa, and all these other groups that are involved, took something from George Floyd when he was killed by Derek Chauvin with his knee in his neck and the other cops standing there. And that was the worst thing that I've seen a cop do. So if you're going to erase everybody's past, okay, then you got to erase everybody's past. If you're going to erase the history of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, if you're going to erase the history of the Confederate soldiers and the Confederate flags and all that, then you have to erase all of history. You can't erase just some of it. So are you going to erase civil rights too? I mean, think about it. And if you're going to hold somebody accountable for their past, then you've got to hold everybody accountable. So what you're doing and what you're saying when you're out here tearing down these statues is Robert E. Lee owned slaves, or Ulysses S. Grant did this. Okay, so when they was 20, they did this. When they was 30, they did this. Okay, let's think about it. This is what I'm trying to say. George Floyd had a record, okay, as long as a damn Volkswagen. One of it being he held a gun at a pregnant woman's belly. Okay? Are we holding that against George Floyd? No, because that was his past. What happened to George Floyd was still dead wrong. But you're not holding him accountable for his past. Let's go to the shooting in Atlanta at the Wendy's. He was stopped for a DUI, had several DUIs, was on probation. And he blatantly resisted arrest. And he blatantly turned and shot the taser at the cop. Now, are you holding his past against him? Oh, we're not going to hold his past against him. But we're going to hold the past against everybody else. See, you can't have two sides to a, you can't do it. It's either one set of rules for everybody. So you can't hold George Floyd's past against him and say, well, he deserved to be killed because he did this to a pregnant woman. Okay? You can't hold the past against anybody saying that they deserve to be killed because of their past. The past does not reflect the present, and as far as holding somebody accountable. Because I got a speeding ticket 2 weeks ago, you can't hold that against me if I run a red light today. That you can't do it. That's just not right. That's double standards. We don't have double standards. And that goes for all the different things that are going on out there. You can't hold Robert E. Lee's past against him. You can't hold Ulysses S. Grant. You can't hold Abraham Lincoln. You can't hold George Washington. Come on. So you're going to hold the past of the United States against the United States. Without the past, you don't have the present and the future. Think about it. You can't hold the past against the present and the future. And then to be looting, and I know everybody says, well, to be heard, sometimes you got to cause violence. Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's got their own beliefs, I guess. I mean, that's stupid, because no, you don't. You don't have to cause violence and jerk people out of cars and threaten people and shoot people and kill babies to be heard. Come on now. Come on. Y'all tell that crap to somebody else. All right? Because I tell you, there's 367 million people in the United States of America. Even if 10% of the population is out protesting, that's only 36,700,000 people, give or take a few. That's not even the majority. And to have these murals and these roads changed for Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter Avenue or Boulevard or whatever, well, where's the one that says White Lives Matter? If you're going to put Black Lives Matter in the middle of the road, then you need to put White Lives Matter in the middle of the road. That's bottom line. You can't have double standards. Black lives don't matter no more than what the white lives matter. And I'm going to tell y'all why we on all this. So now you are part of the protesters' thing is that black people are oppressed, or they can't get ahead. They can't find. Come on now. We got black president, we got black senators, we got black mayors, we got black career police officers, we got black police chiefs, we've got black movie stars, we've got many hundreds of black superstars, singers, okay? And you're going to tell me that you can't find a job and you can't make it. No, it's because you don't want to. That goes for everybody. Black, white, green, yellow. I don't care if you're purple with pink polka dots. Bottom line is if you want to make something out of yourself, you can make something out of yourself. Because I came from a poor white family. Some of my Christmases were out of trash trucks. Okay, I can remember getting one model car and it was shared between me and my brothers. That was our Christmas present because we were so poor. I grew up using an outhouse and taking a shower outside at a well pump or a bath, heating the water up on the fireplace. So I know what poor was. And I know what trying to get ahead was. So don't even try that. If you want to, you can. You got to want to. You got to get off your lazy butt, get off at the corner holding your beer can, stop riding around thinking that I'm going to make it big selling drugs, and go get a career, get a job, and turn it into a career. You might start out flipping hamburgers at McDonald's. That don't mean you can't become the district manager. That don't mean you can't own a franchise. You got to want to. So there's a lot of black people. There's a lot of white people. There's a lot of Native Americans. There's a lot of Mexican people and everything that have made it, so to speak, big, nice houses, nice cars, good jobs. So that oppressed stuff, yeah. The only person oppressing each individual is the individual themselves. Why don't you go look in the mirror and face yourself and realize you're the one messing yourself up? Nobody else is messing you up. Nobody else is messing you up. You chose to have 5 or 6 babies, or you chose not to get a job, or you chose to sit around and drink all day. You chose to sit around and smoke dope all day, or smoke crack, or do drugs. You chose to rob the store. That's your choice. Don't blame it on everybody else. Don't blame it on society, and don't say that you couldn't get out and find a job. Let me tell you something. In the Depression, they were selling apples, pencils, and anything else. They made it through the Great Depression. By God, anybody else can make it through anything else. You got to get off your butt and go get it. Now, we've been wanting to fix the police community. And everybody is wondering why a lot of this stuff and crime repeats itself. Well, I'm fixing to tell y'all why crime repeats itself. And I'm going to tell you how to fix this police brutality stuff. Crime repeats itself because, one, you do an armed robbery. Anybody. I don't care who they are. They can be black, white, green, or yellow. You know, it could be the flying purple people eater. Commits armed robbery. Let's just say he gets 10 years. Now, because the system is crowded, they give him good time behavior and all that stuff, and he gets out at 8.5 years, and they throw him on probation. But on probation, if he gets caught drinking or in a fist fight or anything like that, or he ain't there when you're supposed to check in, or he misses a check-in, probation officer can violate him. And a probation officer can violate him, a man, a woman, or anybody, for just because they don't like him. Oh, well, you didn't show up, I'm going to violate you. You didn't pay your fine. Hold on, what do you mean pay my fines? See, that's the problem. In America, this is the way it should be. If you do the crime, do your time. So, if I commit armed robbery, I get 10 years. I do 10 years to the door. When I get out of prison, there should be a halfway house. No probation, no parole. I should receive some kind of help, okay, from the state, or from when I worked inside the penitentiary. Half of everything I made went to a savings account. Now, when I get out, I get vouchers that gets me clothes at a Walmart or something, and I get a check for a few $100s or whatever, and I go to a halfway house, and I'm allowed to stay at the halfway house for free, say for 90 days. During that 90 days, I'm finding a job. Okay? You can find a job within 90. If you can't find a job within 3 months, you ain't out there looking. You're not on probation. You're not on parole. You ain't paying restitution. You ain't paying no fines. None of that stuff. You are a free man. You did the crime. You did the time. That's it. No probation, no parole, no checking in, nobody riding by knocking on your door. Where's he at? Where's she at? And all this other stuff. No. You do the crime, you do the time, that's it. When you get out of prison, you should get all your rights back. Voting rights, Second Amendment rights, gun rights, etc. No workplace should be allowed to access your record. The only people that should be allowed to access your record and know what's going on with you is the police department and the court system. And the reason being is because that way, if you commit armed robbery a second time, they have your record. And the second time, you get double the sentence. You got 10 years the first time for armed robbery. You go back and do anything else with a gun, armed robbery, assault, whatever. Guess what? You're getting 20 years to the door this next time. Bottom line. Because you had your chance. You did 10 years the first time you got out. You didn't have probation. You didn't have parole. You had money. You had food. You had clothes. You had a place to live. And they helped you get a job. And here's how we do this. So you get out of prison. There's plenty of work to be done in every state. Cutting grass, picking up trash, cutting grass in all the different housing developments, cutting grass at all the courthouses, picking up trash, state work all the time. They could learn a trade helping the state workers put in guardrails, paving road, whatever it is, helping the state maintain. That's bottom line. That gives them pocket money while they're at the halfway house until they find a job, or maybe they get hired on, or maybe there's a whole new program. I don't have all the details on something like that, but there's a lot of smart people out there that could figure out how to make all that work with federal funding, state funding. But if you ain't got probation officers and parole officers, guess what? You can have social workers and counselors in all the halfway houses. Not to govern you, but to be there for everybody that gets out of prison, because somewhere around the 5-year mark, anybody in the penitentiary becomes institutionalized. Once you become institutionalized, okay, then from the 5 to the 10-year mark of being in there, it gets worse. Then when you get out, you don't know. If you've never been in prison before, this is hard to understand, but it's hard to put yourself back in society. Being in a crowd, being close to somebody 3-4 foot away, it's really a deterrent. They need counselors and social workers and stuff to help them get back into society. They're scared to go look for a job. They don't want to tell you that, but that's bottom line. They're not scared to get a gun and go rob a liquor store, but they're scared to try to fill out paperwork for an application. And that's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. Think about it. So you want to fix the repeat criming. You want to fix it so that people are free when they come out of the penitentiary and not going back in and all this stuff. There you go. That's one way. I didn't say it was a perfect way. I just said that's one way. But bottom line is if a man does the crime and the man does the time to the door, 10 years to the door, when he walks out of that penitentiary, he should be a free man, no probation, no parole. He should have his voting rights. He should have every right that a normal, regular citizen of the United States has. Because he did his time. Quit holding the crime against him. Think about it. It's almost like you're forcing criminals to repeat. Now, we got to fix this police department. You can't take chokeholds all away because the police have to have a method to be able to protect themselves in dire emergencies. However, defunding the police, y'all can already see where that's going out here. Minneapolis, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Washington, innocent kids getting killed, women getting shot, people getting pulled out of their cars. It's just a matter of time before you're going to have World War II out there on the streets because, like I said, if you only got 10% of the population out there protesting, that leaves 90% that's going to get fed up. And when they get fed up, there's going to be a lot of gun violence because they're going to start shooting people for tearing and threatening their families and everything else. So 90% against 10% is not good odds. And that's bottom line. Think about it. But to fix the police departments, okay, can you imagine sending a social worker to a domestic violence? Do you know how many cops get killed and hurt at domestic violence calls in a year? Look it up. What in the world is a 120, 30, 40 pound woman going to do, okay, with no way to defend herself, going to a domestic case or a social worker, counselor, whatever, or man, whoever happens to be the social worker? I'm just saying. They're not trained in how to handle physical confrontations. So what we got to do is we got to fix the police departments. How do you fix the police departments? Number one, okay? You have to hold the police department and the mayor, the chief, and everybody accountable. Derek Chauvin, as we all know, had like 16 or 17 prior incidences where he was using, let's just say, extra force. Okay? Excessive force. In other words, he was putting his hands on people in a way he shouldn't have been putting his hands on them as a police officer. Now, the union, okay, is the one who fought to keep him out on patrol. So Derek Chauvin felt like he couldn't get in trouble. Like, it didn't matter what he did because the unions was going to put him right back out on patrol because of whatever contract they signed. I don't know the whole contract. However, if you hold the union accountable, so they're talking about being able to sue cops. No. Sue the unions. Hold the unions accountable, hold the police chiefs and the sheriffs accountable, hold the commissioners accountable, hold the mayors accountable, and hold the governors accountable. Bottom line, if a police officer uses excessive force one time, and I'm not talking about a complaint from a citizen, I'm talking about the complaint comes in, the Internal Affairs Division with a committee for each and every city reviews it, and they determine, yes, he used excessive force. That officer is put on desk duty. Now, we can go through retraining, or he can stay on desk duty and be a paper pusher. Ain't a whole lot to that. Or a jailer. And or termination. He can find another job. Because bottom line is, if you work in construction, McDonald's, wherever, if you're not doing your job, you're going to get fired. If you're doing your job wrong, you're going to get fired. Bottom line, if the police officer is doing his job wrong, then he needs to be fired. He don't need to be back out there 15 more times to repeat his excessive force or whatever. The other thing is, in the bigger cities, you need more foot patrol, bicycle patrol, horse patrol, because that's the only way you're going to get to know your community. Think about it. Retraining, restructure is what you've got to have. And you got to do away with this stupid union that protects these officers. Think about it. Think about it. I mean, that's who's protecting them. You've heard the police chiefs and the commissioners and different people say, look, we couldn't fire them because of the contract with the union for the police. Now, what kind of crap is that? I'm your boss, but I can't fire you? To hell. To hell? No, that's wrong. It don't work like that. I'm your boss. You ain't doing your job. You're fired. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something about every police officer, every commissioner in the United States of America right now that is having problems in their cities, Seattle, Atlanta, etc. Y'all may want to go look at your oath, because none of y'all are upholding your oath because you're scared you're going to lose your job. You're scared you're going to get charges against you. Do your job right and you won't get no charges. That's bottom line. Bottom line is, y'all took an oath. You took an oath to serve and protect, but yet you, because of what's going on, have not upheld your oath and went out here and put a stop to this violence because the mayor said not to. How can the mayor give you an oath and swear you in and then tell you to break your oath. If you're scared to lose your job, then you're scared to stand up for the American people. So if you're scared to stand up for the American people, then you need to quit. That goes for every police commissioner, every mayor, every police officer out there. You took an oath, you swore to do it, now go do it. Do it right. If you got to, go by twos, go by threes to make an arrest. Make sure you got backup, witnesses, cameras, whatever it takes. Buy you some extra GoPros and put them on your car. Put them on your body, whatever it takes to protect your rights. Make sure you do your job right. But still, bottom line is if the mayor tells you not to do your job, she's telling you to break your oath. If the mayor is telling you to break your oath, the mayor is in the wrong. Therefore, you cannot be fired doing your job. So you commissioners and police chiefs and lieutenants and sergeants and regular officers, okay, need to think about that. And you police chiefs and commissioners underneath, however your little system of works there, mayor, commissioner, whatever, whoever's in charge, but whoever's got that badge on at the top level, you need to grow a set of balls and do what you're supposed to do according to that oath. Because I tell you, if the mayor fires you for doing your job, for taking and doing your oath, you got 150,000 lawyers that would love to have that lawsuit. That's bottom line. So that's my rant, that's my rave, that's my individual thought on stuff. And this is going to be put together with a slideshow. You're already watching it and everything. But I want to recap and say it again. When you march across that Edmund Pettus bridge, when you get to the other side, you get to turn around and you can see that name. Every time you walk across that bridge, you're walking on Edmund Pettus. Think about it. Every time you walk across that bridge, you are stomping on top of the Edmund Pettus, Confederate Brigadier General, KKK, Grand Wizard. You are walking on him. You are stomping on him, just like Martin Luther King did. And when you get to the other side, you can turn around and say, we beat you. When you go to Stone Mountain, you can have the history at the bottom of Stone Mountain of what happened. And I mean, make sure it's the truth. Not what you want it to say, but make sure it's the truth. And teach that history to all the kids, to your kids. Teach it so that we as America learn from it. Because bottom line is, I live in the South, and I'm going to tell you, I know a whole lot of black rednecks. I know a whole lot of white rednecks. And then I know a whole lot of people that listen to a whole lot of different music. We go to parties around here, and we got blacks, we got whites, we got reds, we got folks with pink hair spiked up. I don't know what you call them, crazy, I guess. We got lesbians, we got gays, and we all party and have fun together. Don't get me wrong, every place has got its problems. That's a given. Every place has got its problems. But all that crap y'all are doing, destroying people's stores, destroying people's lives, threatening people, jerking people out of cars. I mean, all you're doing is just asking to go to prison. I mean, really. I mean, come on, did you really think that all that stuff and all the videos that have been posted and everything, did you really think that the government was not keeping track? They was just waiting for everything to settle down a little bit, and then boom, look at all the people getting arrested. People are getting arrested every day for all the rioting, the looting, etc., etc., etc. And me personally, I hope they get the max. I hope they put them in prison and give them a taste of it for 10 or 15 years. That's bottom line. I really do. So that's my thought on everything. Remember, you don't tear down history. You learn from history. If we're going to erase the past of the American people, okay, and if we're going to hold the past against America, so you're going to hold slavery against America in 2020, then we got to hold George Floyd's past against him. We got to hold everybody's past against them. If you're going to do it against one, you got to do it against all. Come on. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you do your crime, do the time, you get out, you're a citizen. Halfway house, a little money, social workers, counselors, help them find a job, etc. Reintegrate into society. That's my rant. That's my rave. I hope this goes viral. I hope that people will look at it, listen to it. I know it's long. I know it's drawn out. These are just some good starter, solid points for people that are a lot smarter than me, okay, to put it together and make it work. I appreciate everything. Later.